Building Committee meeting to order. If I could first read this statement. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Baker has temporarily suspended certain provisions of the open meeting law. Provisions pursuant to the order, public bodies are temporarily relieved from the open meeting law's requirements that meetings be held in a public place, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. Citizens with a question or comment can email mmortali@walpole.k12.ma.us or middle school project, that's all one word, middle school project, lowercase, at walpole.k12.ma.us. I believe our next order of business is discussion and approval of the minutes from the July 1st meeting. Do we have any questions or comments on the meeting minutes? Hearing none, I would accept the motion to approve the meeting minutes from July 1st.
So moved.
We have a motion for Mrs. Gallivan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Schematic, I believe. All right, let me poll the committee, please. Mr. Barrett,
Yes.
Ms. Gallivan,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Hahn,
Yes.
Mr. Senek,
Yes.
Ms. Santiago Taylor,
Yes.
and I vote yes. It is a vote.
Well,
Our next,
There is Jack is
Jack
Jack
Conroy is just
Conroy.
joined us. Very good. Jack, let
joined.
me catch you up to where we are. So we've just acknowledged public participation, and we've just had a motion.
no, I've been on.
He's
Oh,
been
you
here.
have been? Okay.
Yeah.
So your vote, Jack, and if you have anything to say as well.
No.
Okay. You have a vote? You vote no. Jack?
Yes, I voted no.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So it is a vote 8-1. Our next order of business, Antonio, I'll turn it over to you here, is to review and approve the vendor invoice package.
Yeah, so we have the typical two invoices, one from Compass and one from TAPE. The Compass invoice CPM 82-17 is in the amount of $31,324.75. This also includes the cost of the estimate, which we did independently of TAPE's estimate. So that cost is wrapped into this number. It was around 15,000, it's 14,000 something. TAPE's invoice 210604 in the amount of 55,000 was also submitted. So the total package for the month of June to be approved is in the amount of 86,324.75. I will quickly, there were no budget revision requests, no new commitments. We did submit the March invoices and the April invoices for reimbursement to the MSBA. Those were paid. I'll cover that next. As I said here, this is the total project budget summary. No new commitments. We're still committed at 1.228 million, and with a balance of commit or to spend of 271,000. That's been hovering around the same the last couple of months, so no changes there on the total project budget. Here's a breakdown of the reimbursements to date. So the ones in yellow were the ones I just alluded to from March and from May and June. The totals for these months were fully reimbursed except for a small amount that we spent on postage and printing for the mailer that was sent out for the community forum. That's not a reimbursable item. So that coupled with the early expense here of 13,000 for the ed visioning sessions, which we did outside of the MSBA order to get a head start. Those are the only two amounts to date that have not been reimbursed. So you can see we've submitted $637,000 of invoices. They've found 621,000 of them to be eligible, and their total contribution reimbursement has been 302,000. Those amounts have been received by the town. So if you look up here, we're hovering at around a 41.42% effective reimbursement rate to date for the entire schematic design up until the end of June. So we will submit the June invoices that we'll approve tonight in July, and then we'll be reimbursed for those. So that's kind of a breakdown of the VIP. Again, just like we normally do, we're looking for approval of Compass CPM 82-17 and TAP A invoice 210604 in the total amount of $86,324.75.
All right, thanks, Tony. Do we have any questions or comments about the vendor invoice package? If you do, just chime in. I'm scrolling here. All right, hearing none, I would accept the motion to approve the vendor invoice package.
Motion
moved.
All right, I have a motion from Ms. Gallivan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Santiago Taylor. Let me poll the committee. Mr. Barrett,
Yes.
Ms. Gallivan,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Conroy. Get back to you. Mr. Jack Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Hahn,
Yes.
Mr. Senek,
Yes.
Ms. Santiago Taylor.
Yes.
I vote yes, and back to Jack. Jack, do you vote?
Yeah, I got it back up again. Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next order of business is to once again update the schematic design process. Back to you, Tony.
Yeah, so there's not a lot to talk about at this point. So, but I did want to just give you a snapshot of where we are. This is our typical timeline. We submitted the SDR package to the MSBA just on the regular schedule on 7/7. As soon as we get comments back, these will be important comments because they won't just be comments on substance, but also on our draft project budget statement, which will result in the project funding agreement. So we're just awaiting comments back. We will be able to complete the administrative portion of the package now with the minutes approved. We can get those certified and get those in. I do have a placeholder out for both of these dates, both 8/10 and 8/17. The only reason why we're just reserving 2 dates is if we get the comments back in early August, we'll be able to respond to them and then bring the committee on board with any comments related to budget. If it goes more toward the middle of August, we want to be able to respond to those ahead of the 8/25 MSBA board approval. So I do have a placeholder in Outlook, but I would ask the committee to just reserve those 2 dates. That's the only order of business that we'll consider at that next building committee meeting, just to see what comments they have back and get those approved and back into them ahead of the board vote. After the board vote, then after the MSBA board vote, then we'll start with communications in the town regarding town meeting and the ballot vote. So that's pretty much all we have in the way of an update.
Good, thanks, Tony. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Tony? So it looks like we have a very quick meeting. So hearing none, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion from Ms. Gallivan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Santiago Taylor. Thank you. Let me poll the committee. Mr. Barrett,
Yes.
Ms. Gallivan,
Yes.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Conroy,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Hahn,
Yes.
Mr. Senek,
Yes.
Ms. Santiago Taylor,
Yes.
and I vote yes. It is a vote. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a good night
everyone.
now.
Appreciate it.
Take
Thank you.
care.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you next
Thanks,
time.
everybody. Good night.